Oh, there you are. I'm just trying to recover here in Korea. Maybe I've lost my voice, but I'm glad to be here because I want to close the day, the final day of US trials, by giving you a perspective from ground zero. That's where I was. I promise you guys, I'll be indulged, I'll be baptized, I'll be playing in the mud, I'll be in Disneyland having candies of athletics. I was enthralled, I was excited, I was overwhelmed. The crowd was quite as enthusiastic, as spectacular as Eugene is. We've always said it is the mecca of track and field running. That's the running capital of America. Nobody is matching that. You can go anywhere. In fact, in one of my clips, you're gonna see a guy whom you can tell is an old-timer. He stands by, he has a green top. It's been signed by almost every athlete he's encountered. So he's walking around with a mural of signage and all this autograph stuff. He was there, he asked me about the late Henry Rono that I've talked about in this YouTube. It was a moment where I'm like, wow, we have a fraternity, we have a community of Tuko Riada donors. They are everywhere. I wish I had my business card and tell him, hey man, you can subscribe if you have some Wi-Fi somewhere. That was for me a moment of telling myself, we have a community here. We have to really embrace each other as we are, whatever perspective you have in athletics. Talking of athletics, let me give you my taste. Let me give you my take. They call this the man, the take. And here it goes. I'll just give you things that really made me say, wow, America, track and field, you can always look the other way. You can have an episode like I did where I talk of the decline of sprinters, and then Noah Lyles have a moment with Kung Fu Kenny in the 200, and you're like, it's never over. It's never over. It is what I call bring it on. Stare down. What you got. You can watch that highlight. You can check it anywhere. I was right there watching them warming up. I think people look at rivalry when you're having moments of you won this race. You want to win this by all means necessary. And spectators think it's a kumbaya moment. You can never have kumbaya moment if you want to go to the World Championship in Tokyo. You must go get it. You might have to go through somebody. You might have to go stare down at the finish line and look that way and say, hey, Kung Fu Kenny, what you got? Like Kung Fu Kid? And then there was that moment at the end of that race and you're like, America rivalry, sprinters rivalry, athletics rivalry is what we need. I'm advocating this. Let it go up a notch as we go to Tokyo. Why not? Why not? Listen, it's all happening right there in front of us. It makes the sport watchable, a spectacle, draws the fans in, good competition. 19, was it 67, the winning time in 200? His best time this year. He's fast. He's third, 200 meters. Kenny Benarak is not going anywhere either. The Kung Fu Kenny is not going anywhere. The field is still deep. America is still the country to beat in sprinting events. I have to bow down. There's the superpowers. And that's what I like about the trials. American trials have always told me is a foretaste of what they'll do come World Championship in September, 13th to 21st. Americans will dominate. I know that. Let's just start by saying dominate because they will make some noise. They will be on the edge. They train like no man's business. They are submarines. When you think you don't know, they just show up. Because Noah Lyles' race versus Kung Fu Kenny was what I call, hey, oh, what you got? I enjoy that. As a spectator, as a fan, it doesn't bother me. Listen, you can shake hands when it's over. They did shake hands. You can always go out there and have fun at the hotel, go do your own thing. But right now, there's a gold medal, there's a silver, and a bronze. And I'm in my lane. I don't have to be shaking your hand. I just have to find my way to the podium. I love it. Another event that was beautiful for me is when you have a moment to the high jumper. I've never had this. The only high jumper I remember was Colin, what was his name? Hollis Conway. Is it Hollis Conway? He was a UL guy. Back in the days, 88. He was a silver medalist. I remember that. So I've never really been a high jumper guy. Those events are very special. But a young man had a moment with me, and this is what I talk about. When you are on ground zero, when you are at the concert, when you are in the middle, you're in the trenches of what is happening. When you are right there, I tell my wife, when you're in the third heaven, where you are experiencing the whole shenanigans, the whole energy, the emotions, you appreciate. Because I had a moment to talk to a young man known as Harrison. He was third in the high jump. Harrison Jovan, I think I can say his name correctly if I butchered it. And I realized that you have to make time. You have to make sure you you approach people and they'll give you an audience. He was walking by, signing autographs, having moment spectators. I had a few of those. I won't brag about it. I was a high school kid because that to me is my temple, that's my sanctuary. That's where I get my holistic life, where in athletics, my eyes lit up. My wife is like, are you not getting tired? I'm losing my voice because it is where I enjoy myself. It's the reason why I've been running and I'm still running. Well, there was a young man. The winner in the high jump was a Nebraska collegiate guy, Tyus Wilson. This guy, I think, was 8 feet. I walked by him. His dad, I think, is 9. This is an hyperbole. I'm exaggerating. I don't think that's how tall you are. But if I'm looking up and I'm 6'2", those are giants. Yeah, he won that, and I remember the camera on him. He didn't know what to do. He's a college guy. He's like, NBC is covering me right now. I need to have an interview. Great guy. I didn't have a moment with him, but I had a moment with the third place guy. Second place was Shelby McQueen. Anyway, that was that for the high jump. I think I'll quickly go into the event that I think you know what one is going to be. Let me talk about the 800 meters women. I thought Nia Atkins is going to pull another one on us. Coming to the penultimate lap, she had the lead. She held on to the fast lane. But at the end, I think she ran herself, not to the ground, because 1:59 as the winning time was not anything but slow time. But the winner, Royson Willis, and Maggie Congdon, and then third place was Sage Hatu Kletcher. I think I mentioned Kletcher in my last episode, but everybody else is at the top of the podium right now, like Roycine. She walked by. I remember, I think I have a picture that I took with her because I had a way that I could have a moment with these guys because they walk around the track and you can take pictures, selfies, and all that stuff. These is very young people. I mean, I'm a dinosaur here, but I'm like, wow, world champion. National champion, not world champion, but going the world champion, national champion of America at this time of their lives is a big deal, isn't it? And you realize that sports, if you take it seriously, let me just advocate for those young juggernauts out there. You can go anywhere. And one of the things that I embraced it with a sense of humility, is how humble these guys are. Most of them are. Some are untouchable, like I've mentioned in the past. But yes, proud of Roycine Willis, who goes on. And Haya Wilson tried her best. No, she couldn't do it. Alison Wale, we ran 157 in London. And in one of my episodes, I anointed her too soon. I think this is what happened in the championship trials. Going the world championship, who wants it more? Who is prepared mentally more? And that was that for the 800 women. I think the men, I'll spend more time with that because that's where I delve into the nits and grits of what happened. Because 49-2, Josh Hoy is what I call let me take them to Twilight Zone. I like using that because let me tell you where it came from. I think it's 1992. Johnny Gray, he was one of the best 800 meters Americans had in the back in the 80s, 90s. They used to say, Johnny Gray is taking them to the Twilight Zone. And he used to be a 49 guy every 400 meters. So that's why I use that, because that's the old school stuff. But Josh Joey went a 49 too. And I remember I was at the at the 200 mark as they come the first lap. And you could tell, oh, Joey was on a mission to destroy the field, so to speak, run them to the ground, go Johnny Gray on them, and hopefully they'll have nothing left. But that's what happened to Yara Negusa yesterday. Being a front runner in the World Championship trials, I tell you what, it seems not to work, does it? And Joey should have maybe listened to Yara Negusa. This being a sacrificial lamb, being a pacemaker for the trials didn't bode well for him, because right behind him was some really, really dangerous guys. If I may look back and say, my goodness, Brandon Miller looked very strong. I think we have a future with that guy. And then Donovan Brazier was just lacking in the bushes. He was just there, running like a camouflage. He was just camouflaging himself and saying, I'm really patient. I'll be patient. I'll be patient. If you watch the clip, he finds a little what I call, what is this? Is this open door? Is this saying I can see heaven from here? He saw heaven. And he just dashed for paradise. 142.16. I think more than that, you could see the emotions. You know, you've been injured for 3 years, all that surgery, rehab, coming back, and then you win the national championship. And you were the world champion in 2019 in Doha. It's as if you come full circle now, and now it goes to Tokyo. I won't finish it. I won't say what else. I reserve comments about Donovan for later show, maybe, or maybe the closing, because I'm going to jump back slowly and watch this kid known as Cooper Lutkenhaus, 16-year-old. He smashes all kind of records with a 142.27, 16 years old young guy. Can I brag about this guy a little bit? Because at the end of the show, I ran into the guy, took a picture with him, talked to his dad, talked to him. I realized they are the Jakob Ingebrigtsen of a running family of 4. Hello, that was me. I dropped it there. If you are listening, his dad was just in the clouds. You could see he's like, in fact, I don't know whether I asked them anything spectacular, anything special. I was just kind of trying to feel them, because there was a moment of family. My wife is a videographer. We call ourselves the paparazzi of track and field. We're having these great moments. And I just looked at the guy. I said, what's going on here, man? Why are you making us look old and you're so quick? He just smiled. He didn't have anything to say. His younger brother was there. He goes to school in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's a family of runners. Dad can't catch up. Mom was just running maybe to go to the hotel and make him something to eat. I have no idea. I was privileged for the door to be open, and I had a moment to talk to the second place world record. By the way, that's the world record in 16-year-old world record, 142.27. Cooper Lutkenhaus. I tell you what, that picture is going there. I don't care, because the future looks good in America in 800, 142. That is some good time. Bryce Hoppel comes third. He couldn't get the 4 that I thought he was going to do it. But coming third and going to the World Championship, don't rule him out yet. Joshua Howie comes fourth. And of course, we have Brandon Miller. These were the protagonists from the get-go. But one thing you should keep about Cooper, he's a guy who will come from behind. He came from behind having some stumbles in the semis and made the final. He comes from behind in this one and he sees the home straight. He's 16. What about that? As a student of 800 meters, I say, look out, that's great. And I had a privilege of close-up of this one. Let's go to Donovan Brazier. I'm not done. Maybe I'll upload a little bit of a moment I had with him. You guys can check what we were talking about, because I asked Brandon later, I met him with I think his dad. I couldn't understand the family. There's a big group of people who are very excited about that. They were walking to maybe their car or their space they were staying. And I asked Brandon a very interesting question. I asked him that how did he see that window? I call it the window of paradise, because in races, there's only so much you can get in space sometimes when you come in the home straight. I asked him, so how do you penetrate that window of paradise to go in? He said, you don't teach that. That's a masterpiece. You don't teach that. You either see it or it is closed. I call it the close of probation for a runner. When it is closed, you are done. He didn't wait for it to be closed. I remember, you can see slow motion, him squeezing himself, and then boom, and he burst into paradise. He was the winner. Very happy for him. I had a moment with him at the end of the race. My wife can testify to that. I was like, Donovan, well done, well done. You know, guys can see that. This is the joy of being around people that you really value. I value athletes because I've been down that road. We share that camaraderie. It's deep. The emotions anchored somewhere in, the pain, and you know what it means to win. Hey, Donovan Brazier shook his hand, had a moment, proud of him. He goes to the World Championship. And I tell you what, he's won before. Emmanuel Wanyonyi, Donovan Brazier, it's going to be great. Marco Arop, 800 meters. I think I should call him and say, hey, Donovan, give me a plane ticket to Tokyo. Just kidding. I think for me, let me just wrap up my take on this final day. Than the fact that Cole Hocker shows me why he's a gold medalist in the 1500. I think he toyed with the field in the 5K. He's like, well, I'm going to take the lead, and I'll decide when to win. That's exactly what he did. I like the way he pulled his hair. He's like, okay, I'm done. What else is left? That's how you win, my friend. You just toy with the field. Nico Young is still around, but he's still young. I think Cole Hocker is the guy to watch. 13:26 was the winning time. Who cares? He's taking the plane. I think he has good time going in. I think he ran under 13, maybe, I think. Yeah, I think he ran under 13. So he's qualified. He's going to the World Championship. I had a moment with him too, to brag about the people I came in contact with, but I did. That is why we go there, maybe interview them, get a taste of that. And it was just nice. I was privileged, and Tuko Riada is here to tell you more from ground zero, wherever we can. And I think Melissa Jefferson in 200 with Shakira Richardson, of course, with the cloud of whatever happened with the law and all that stuff was hanging on her head, you could tell. There's nothing much there, but I think Melissa Jefferson is a lady to watch out for. She's running good. I was happy for Gabby Thomas. I think she's finding moments. She had to wait, and you could tell there was a screen moment where the ladies were waiting because everything was very close. I had a close look on this one. I think Melissa is the lady I think Julian Alfred knows that, and I think that's why World Championship is coming around. These guys are really picking up at the right time. We're looking forward to watching that, but that's my take. I feel exhausted. We just drove in. I was like, let me give my summary, my post-analysis if I can. But I was privileged as I can here, guys. I ran into some old friends. Two-time gold medalist, 2000 was that? It was at Tokyo. Bernard Lagat, I ran into the guy. We had a moment there just to catch up. Good friends, old friends. And some local guys there that I don't have to mention their names. But that was brilliant for me. We had a good time. America track and field is still the best when it comes to trials and when it comes to the big show. So I've declared that they are here for war, and it's going to be some war out there in track and field, which hypes it up for viewing. And I'll be locked in for that week in the World Championship coming in Tokyo. But before that, we have to go Diamond League and all that. But that's my take. Tuko Riadha, my friend. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for joining the family, because Tuko Riadha is just growing in front of you. And I'm privileged to be your host, telling you good night, good day, and love to all Riadha donors out there. Keep running.